Oh. Oh. Welcome to Meaningful Mornings. The university I went to, a Hindu student group, had asked me to teach a master class for them on meditation. And I shared with them that meditation has become a buzz, a fad, a phenomenon. And so I'm going to teach them using one of the most authentic and deep sources on meditation, that is Bhagavad Gita. And I reference just one verse for them, chapter 6, verse 17, in which Sri Krishna tells Prince Arjuna that one has to be yukta. Yukta with ahara, yukta with vihara, yukta with karma, yukta with swapna, yukta with avabodha. Some of these words you know, some you don't. The point is, one's lifestyle has to be disciplined to be able to meditate. And everyone was smiling and nodding. Then I asked them, what time did you sleep last night? They started looking away, turning their screens off. 4 a.m., 3 a.m. The earliest was 1 a.m. And I shared with them that I'm like a more experienced sibling of yours. I'm not your parent. I'm a more experienced sibling. That if you don't change your lifestyle, you will never change your vision. Your vision of how to be happy. And really, I'm sharing the same message with all of us. Meaningful Mornings, our community is like a support group to support each other to live a disciplined lifestyle. For those university students, I told them 2 simple practices: read more and sleep early. That's it. Vihara and swapna. If you think of Meaningful Mornings, this community achieves that. We have to read more, read your own notes, to sleep earlier, to be part of this life. Analyzing our lives from a big picture, for all of us, dukkha nivrittihi is complete. Escaping pain is complete for us. We're going to have breakfast now. We're going to get into our cars and run our errands. Nobody's concerned about their physiological needs or safety needs. This should be a trigger for us to evolve to sukha prapti, to complete embracing peace. The first step to do so, this is generally described as karma yajna. The first step is the right actions. Another word for this is responsibilities. When one engages in the right actions, then this causes one to have the right attitude. If I'm irresponsible, I become more cranky. If I'm responsible, I become more cheerful. Right actions causes the right attitude. Next, we go from karma yajna to jnana yoga. The right attitude causes the right identification. I shared this with all of you as know your vastness. The right identification And we can't use two A's and then an I, because that's not alliteration, that's not Vivek. So we'll call it the right Atman. The right attitude causes us to feel what the right Atman is. Right now, I believe Atman is this body. When I come to know my vastness, I know Atman, that which is closest, is the spirit. The right Atman leads us to the third step. Karma Yajna, Jnana Yoga. Step 3, this is not really a step, it's a plateau. Sthita Prajna. Sthita Prajna, where one is not trying to know their vastness, but they are being vast. There's a difference between knowing and being, or trying and this being natural. This is the right Ananda. That's your fourth A, the right Ananda. We all want to be joyous, but we're doing this through our senses. When one is being Ananda, which is their Atma, they are content. The one who's content is naturally balanced, independent, fearless, accepting, and what we're focusing on now, disciplined. The same message continues in verse 61. Swami Tejomayananda told us to memorize this verse. It is one of the first verses, maybe the first verse, that Sri Krishna indicates, shares towards contemplation. This is almost a seed for chapter 6. The whole chapter is on contemplation. Tani sarvani samyamya yukta asita matparaha vashehi yasyendriyani tasya prajna pratishtita. Tani, those. Sarvani, all. Samyama, here the word is restrained. You can use the word disciplined. What are those? Sri Krishna is referring to the sense organs. For all of the sense organs to be disciplined, this is only possible with understanding. I keep giving you the example of a child. If you tell a child, don't touch this, you think that's going to work? I fail in this every day. But if one can have the patience to help a child understand that this will burn you, this will cut you, you don't need to do this, there's a greater chance they won't touch it then, correct? The right understanding. An insight for all of us. If you can rewind to when you were 15 years old, what you talked about, what you wanted to eat, and now fast forward to, let's say you're 45, do you still talk about the same subjects? I pray not. Do you still want those same experiences? Of course, we want to be younger, but we don't want the peer pressure of high school. See how you've always moved forward and never looked back. To have the same understanding with the senses, these senses are not going to lead to sukha prapti. They will only lead to dukkha nivritti, but that's done for us. It's already complete. Yukta asita matparaha. With such discipline, yukta, asita, sit down. Matparaha, and remember me, contemplate on me. Me means Sri Krishna. Me means Atma. Asita, which means to sit, indicates to engage in this longer. When you have to stand to do something, you can't do it as long then, correct? If you just think about the asanas you just engaged in, which asana can you do the longest? Shavasana, correct? You're not even sitting, you're lying then. So longevity is indicated by the word asita and matparaha. In contemplation, there are two ways to engage in this. The lower one is to withdraw. The higher one is to direct. In the first quarter, Shri Krishna has already stated, withdraw your focus from the senses. Now in the second quarter, he's saying, direct your focus to me, Shri Krishna, or Atma. It is this withdrawal and this direction that helps us to have the right identification from body to Brahman. Nididhyasana. A short form of this is dhyana. In English, contemplation. The purpose of this is to change your identification from body to Brahman. The third quarter. Vashehi yasyendriyani. For the one whose indriyas, the five sense organs, are vashe, the translation is under their control. But I told you control doesn't work. In fact, I taught all of you in Jivan Sutrani that controlling is losing. When you try to control relationships, what happens to those relationships? You lose those relationships. The senses are the same way. Controlling is losing. If the first line was about focusing on understanding, this line is focusing on purpose. On purpose, that the sense organs should have a higher purpose. Shared in a different way. When one loves the Atman, what comes from this is control. That may sound abstract. Putting this into a relationship, any relationship where you experience unconditional love, don't you feel controlled by that relationship in a good way? And I had told you in Jivan Sutrani that loving is controlling. So if one loves the spirit, then the senses will naturally be directed. And I also gave another suggestion from the Ramayana that if we're using all 14 of our organs, the ones of input, the ones of direction that's inside, and the ones of output, if they're all engaged in loving Rama or loving joy, won't these senses be directed then? Won't they be under your control? They will. And unless you try this, you will always deny this. And the last quarter, which is a repetitive thought to remind us, tasya prajna pratishtita. All of these descriptions or lakshanas, if they are about you, then your prajna pratishtita, you are not knowing vastness, you are being vastness. Jnana, to know. Prajna, to be. What Swami Tejramananda shared with us in terms of this last quarter, if you remember that God lives in your heart, then God will control the senses for you. And the example given is, a robber can keep on stealing from a citizen. But once the king gets involved in this example, the robbers can't steal from the king, correct? Right now, we're all individually trying to direct our senses to feel that God lives in your heart. Let Shri Krishna direct your senses. 2 application. Your application yesterday was to rate your 5 senses, each sense from 1 to 10, not 1 to 5, but 1 to 10. And then your total score would be out of 15. So does anyone want to share? How do you rate your sense direction? And which sense of yours is least directed? Which sense of yours is most directed? I see no comments on the website or chat, which means your score is so high that humbly you don't want to share this, correct? See, one honest answer from our support group, correct? 25, and mouth is the least directed. Another has shared that the eyes are the most directed. This is from Chicago, from Austin. Keep sharing. Your application for this morning, I want you to feel that God lives in your heart. Many of us, maybe all of us, have had our first and second vaccinations. When I get a vaccine, I feel like there's antibodies in this body to fight the coronavirus. I want you to feel that God lives in you, and so now you have anti-indulgence, enzymes, proteins. Okay? Shanti, Shanti, Shantihi. Be safe, be sound, be serene, be happiness. Want to say Hari Om to everyone?
Hari Om.